Thank you guys for all tuning in tonight. I was kind of thinking it was being a party of four, so I'm pretty excited to see so many faces. Just wanted to kind of reach out to you guys, tell you a little bit about me first of all. I've been doing this business for about 5.5 years. It'll be 6 years in July. And I had a really great year last year. It was amazing. It was incredible. But that's not where I started. I wasn't a Tammy Davis or a Dolly Goff right off the bat by any means. I started with Slumber Parties originally back in 2010. And my first year, I came in just under $7,000 in retail. In 2011, I did $18,007. And at the very, very end of 2011, I signed my first team member, and she kind of hunted me down and said, "Hey, I'm joining your team." I said, "Oh, okay, great." So I wasn't out there hardcore recruiting at all. I was working full time. I had Thatcher was 6 years old when we first got started, so he was still very young, and he was working full time as a retail manager, a crazy schedule. I had just recently been unemployed. And so we had been living largely on Visa, MasterCard, Discover, accruing a lot of debt. And I really kind of started Pure Romance just to get out and be around grown-ups. It later became a little bit more about money, supplementing unemployment insurance and whatnot. I did actually end up losing my job 2 additional times over the next year and a half. So it was a really scary time for us with a lot of big changes. In 2012, I only did $12,000 that entire year. 2013 was where it all finally kind of clicked. I hated my job. I hated everything. I quit my job with my husband's support in January of 2013. I think he thought I was going right back to work. I just kind of forgot to look for another job. So, surprise. And that was a real learning for us. There were months that particular year that we'd have a really great month and we'd eat some steak and everything was great. And then there were months that it was terrible and we ate peanut butter, and not just the peanut butter, but like the very bottom of the jar with the longest knife there to get it all up. I mean, we worked with what we had. There were some real key learnings that year. The last 2 years, we've really just tried to eat chicken all the time. So we weather the highs, we weather the lows, and try to make it all work. I started finally doing some recruiting in 2013. I did realize finally that if I was going to make this work, I needed to take advantage of the full opportunity that it offered, not just the immediate payday from parties and from sales. So I did start my recruiting in 2013. I believe we added 6 girls that year. And it's kind of gone up from there. Right now we're sitting at a team of roughly 29, I believe, first and second line. So we've definitely grown, not at superstar status. It hasn't all happened overnight. I didn't have 60 some odd girls sign up last year, but a little bit here and there. And I've really worked hard to making sure that I'm keeping in touch with girls. Often the ones that have signed have been on my radar for a year or better. And they just finally came over. And because of that, we've had a lot of longevity. But, we've been really up and down. My first year that I was full-time with the business, I only did $24,237 in retail. Did I mention peanut butter sandwiches and a lot of them? So it was a really scary year. Last year I came in, 2014 I came in at 50,000, and then last year we finished up at 87. So it doesn't matter whether you're just starting. I mean, we've seen, like I said, some of these girls had these meteoric rises and amazing things happen very, very quickly. But if you've been around a few years, it's not lost. You're not just stuck in the middle of the crowd kind of muddling along. You can make it what you want to make it at the time that you decide to make that happen. So it's been a really exciting run for sure. I did come over to Pure Romance, not at the exact time that the Fab Four did, but a few months thereafter. I came over just before the end of 2011, and I think anybody who came over with us definitely agrees that was a great, great thing. So I think that really opened me up. The training, the opportunity, the enthusiasm was definitely something that helped keep me rolling. I'm here to pretty much talk about the ordering room, a few things that we can do in the ordering room to maybe improve or make the best of our sales, and then I'll kind of open it up to just some general questions. In the ordering room, pretty much after the demo is over, I linger, I answer questions, and then I'm going to go into the ordering room. I definitely, encourage the girls to come in by themselves. Obviously, that's what we want to offer. If somebody is scared to death and brings a friend, fine. I brought my friend Janie, actually, she dragged me in, used my credit card, spent a ton of money at my first party 21 years ago. And had it not been for Janie, we wouldn't have bought anything. So, if they need a friend or if they're looking for guidance, that's fine with me. But typically I want to keep it to one, maximum two girls. Otherwise it just gets chaotic. When you walk into my ordering room, I'm going to smile. I'm going to ask you if you had a good time. I'm going to get you seated, get you comfortable. I go ahead and grab their customer connection form. I don't use the one from the catalogs, but it's essentially the same information. I get that information from them. I just double check it to make sure it's complete. And if not, I have them finish it real quick. I also try to make sure it's legible. That's something over the years I finally realized, why am I not doing that? If I can't read it there, I'm sure not going to be able to read it in 3 days when I try to send that product. It's legible. I ask them, after I've asked them if they've had a good time, I want to know what questions they have. I don't ask them, do you have any questions? It's what questions do you have for me? Sometimes they'll say, I don't have any questions. Sometimes they just look a little scared. So I try to determine, what are they looking for? Are they looking for product questions? Do they have a question about what's happening in the bedroom, what's not happening in the bedroom? And I really try to spend some time talking about that before we get into the products, because I don't ever want them to feel like they're just a number to me. Yes, their order is putting gas in my car to get home. Their order is paying for my house payment. Their order is buying Legos for my little guy. But it's so much more than a number. I mean, my team, my family, my friends have come from my clients, and it means a lot. Then after I make sure I've got all the questions answered, I'm going to ask them, what are you treating yourself to tonight? And here was the big key learning. This is where we went from a $12,000 year to a $50,000 year. I learned to just shut up. Which I know is a shock to some of you guys, but sometimes I try it. But just stop talking. I tend to shop out of my own pocketbook, and anyone who knows me knows that I am really cheap. I don't buy anything name brand. I'm cheap. And so I always just assume that everybody's going to shop like me, and there's no way that I would spend this on that product. So I really kind of stabbed myself in the foot early on. People, would come in and they say, oh, they want the coochie cream and the just like me. Oh, great. And I just add it up and here you go. I didn't give them time to think it over. I didn't give them time to give them feedback. I didn't give them an opportunity to add something onto their order that could have been really valuable. I just cut them off because, frankly, I was so afraid they were going to change their mind and cancel their order entirely that I just kept talking. A couple years ago at one of the world conferences, I'm not sure who the trainer was, but they told me that the best thing you could do is just shut up. And every time they pause, you say, okay, great. What else? And that's what we do. So when you come in and you say, okay, I want the coochie cream. Okay, great. What else? I want the just like me. I want the whipped. I want the Playmate. Okay, great. What else? I want the come clean. I want the, and when they're talking, you just keep saying, great. What else? Do not stop them. Don't stop them to say, oh, wait, what flavor did you want in this or that? Don't stop them. Just let them keep sharing their list. When they pause, say, okay, great. What else? You're going to be amazed at how many people just keep adding on because you're giving them permission to do that when you're asking them what else would they love to treat themselves with. It can take what would have been a $70, $80 order, and you can turn that into a $150 or more order just by giving them permission to keep adding. So I go through, okay, great, what else? Okay, great, what else? Okay, great, what else? So they finally say, that's it, I'm done. Okay, great. Now we're going to go back to the beginning of the order form, and I do use the pre-printed with all the numbers and the products listed on there. I do use those order forms. Just so I don't have to remember all the prices and all that good stuff. Just helps me keep my ducks in a row. I do have the blank ones for outside orders that I take at my computer, that type of thing. But at a party, I actually use the full itemized order form. But then I'm going to circle back. And so, okay, they want a coochie cream. Okay, great. What scent did you want? At that point, I'm going to visit that, make sure I know which scent they want. Okay, great. The coochie cream is 1 for $20 or 2 for $35. And we give them the opportunity to add another one of those on. I will let them go ahead and swap it out and use a shave as well. And then we go down and say they wanted a hot heart. Okay, great. You wanted a hot heart. Those are 1 for $16, 2 for $27. Okay, and I just keep going back and circling back and adding on. from what they've already said. Again, we've not really added anything extra to the list, so it's not quite as scary to them. We're just increasing the quantities, giving them a better deal. These offers are not going to make you a lot of profit. You're not making much money on that second Hot Heart. You're not making much money on that second Coochie Cream. What you are doing, though, is you're boosting your retail numbers, which is going to, in turn, earn you free product, incentives, that type of thing. You are also, again, giving them the chance to really spoil themselves and get what they would really like, get a great deal, which in turn is going to keep them coming back to you, which is really important. So we go through, we verify what flavors, what quantities they want of the items. Then I'm going to look for holes. So if we know that they have Playmate and we know that they have, just like me, those aren't going to be the greatest lubricant to use. We know they need a whip, so I'm immediately going to upsell and add on that whip to that Playmate order. If they've ordered a toy but they have not ordered the toy cleaner, that should be an automatic, which size do you want? Not do you need it, not do you want it, which size toy cleaner do you need for your toy? It's going to protect their vagina. It's going to protect their investment. It's really important that they get that. So you're going to go through all of those things. For me personally, in my process, I check mark things that I'm able to deliver that night. I circle items that I need to back order as my red flag that I need to send those out. But I don't tell them what I have on back order until I've tallied the order. Okay, we know that there's some ladies that, just want the goodies that night, and that's great. But, especially early on when you don't have stock and I'm the same way, all of a sudden you have, a water heater go out and so much for that inventory, I'm going to liquidate that and use that fund, toward that. You may not have as much inventory on hand as you usually do or as other people do, and that's not a deal breaker. I don't go to a Pampered Chef party or an Origami Owl party or any of those and expect to get all my goodies that night. If I get something, great, but I don't expect that. And a lot of our clients really don't either, and they understand that as long as you're giving them a clear expectation of when they're going to receive it and make sure that you're standing by that. You're really not going to have any problems. That said, I don't want to say, oh, I don't have this in stock and have somebody decide they need to cancel that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add up all the items and add the tax, add the shipping, the whole 9 yards. We're going to take care of the payment. Then I start collecting the items for them. Okay. And again, whatever I don't have on hand, I circle, let them know when they're going to receive it. Nobody, every now and again, you'll get someone who's a little disappointed, but they're going to be okay. They can live, if they seem a little bothered by it, I just remind them, you've waited 30 some odd years for this, XYZ, you can wait 7 more days. It'll be okay. So it's really not a problem. You just want to make sure that you're marking that to follow up with that. Just simply by shutting up, by not cutting them off, by not limiting them to what I think that they should be purchasing has made such a huge, huge, huge difference in my personal business. I can definitely point to that as saying, look, that's the number one thing that made a big impact. If there is something that I need to send them, again, I make sure that it goes out. I don't currently do all the fun wrapping and tissue and whatnot. I put big notes after Empowerment Summit that I needed to start doing that. I'm sure that will go over well, but we're going to try. Get my husband to do a lot of the back orders. I don't know that he wants to make tissue paper bows and stuff, but anyway. But I just drop them in a bubble mailer. I do make sure that it's completely discreet. If it's a Mr. Dependable, nobody at that post office should know that that's a Mr. Dependable in that envelope. They need to know, that you need to pad it with bubble mailers or whatever it is to make sure that it's not obvious. Everything comes from Laura to that client. It goes directly to them. My party base, my average drive one way to all of my parties is 1 hour and 40 minutes one way to every party that I do. I go a max of 3 hours. Every now and again, I'll get one closer, but that's just where my business grew. So that's where we go. So driving just, it is what you do, but because of that, I can't hand deliver products usually. So I do a lot of mailing of the back orders. I do put a handwritten thank you note in every single one of my back orders. Usually it's just 1 or 2 lines. I do try to have 3 or 4 little scripts in my head, and I try to rotate those. So if Sally and Ann are best friends, they don't see that they have duplicate notes. If I remember something personal about them or jotted something down, I may refer to that in there. And then I also put a bounce back coupon, and that bounce back coupon gives them 25% off their next order if it's placed by blank. And I fill in the blank based on the party I try to keep it within 10 days, 10 days to 2 weeks time. However, if they were at Susie's party and Roberta booked a party on the 13th, that coupon is going to magically expire on the 11th. I don't want these ladies bringing that coupon to that party. That's going to hurt retail for me. It's going to hurt retail for our new hostess. It's also going to be leaving some ladies that maybe were out at the previous party but got their goodies. It's going to leave them out. So I do try to make sure that I'm smart about the dates that I put on those bounce back coupons. Let's see here. I do use the VIP Elite program. I know that we've seen that over the last several corporate trainings. I have a big sign that's up with my demo that says if you're a VIP, which is $150, you get blank. And then if you hit my Elite program, which is $250, you get blank. I rotate what those products are based on a couple of things. I choose, number one, what I have in stock. I don't want to have to back order that stuff. So if all of a sudden I find myself with a plethora of something on hand, that may be the item. Or if I can get it on sale or on a discount or in a 6-pack or with free product, I'm going to use that. Sometimes, and then I also try to balance it out with what I sell a lot. I sell Just Like Me to practically every person that comes into my ordering room. I am not putting Just Like Me up there as a free product. They're going to buy that anyway. So I want to add them on something that maybe they wouldn't have normally purchased, that gives them an opportunity to branch out into other categories of the product that we carry. Also, again, allows me to continue to get the sales that I would have gotten anyway there without kind of stepping on my own toes. And not just mine, but stepping on the toes of my hostess. She's counting on me to produce a fun, great party for her guests to be ordering from, so she can get a great payout as well. So it's important to me that I'm making sure that it's the best for both of us. I do have a smaller sign. I just got like a little cheap frame at the dollar store that has those same VIP Elite offers that sits right on my table in the ordering room. It is just a little, like a small 5x7. It's mostly there to remind me, so I don't forget, so I can use that as an easy upsell. I do try to guide some of their selections based on what I have in inventory. So let's say that for whatever reason right now I am sitting on 13 bottles of Sweet Fantasy Coochie. When I pass around that Sweet Fantasy Coochie scent for everybody to smell, I'm going to let them know that this is everybody's favorite right now. And somehow just by putting in that plug, all of a sudden you're going to find, wow, everybody's buying Sweet Fantasy. It was the same thing, when we had Exotic Escape, when it was going away, I was able to stock up on some of that for less. And I was able to make sure that people knew, look, this is really a client favorite right now. And everybody just responded to that, and all of a sudden I was selling that scent. I try to keep a pretty balanced inventory. Love Story right now is still definitely my #1 seller, but if I am low in stock on that, I'm going to start to kind of push some of these other fragrances to move them into what I do have on hand, again, for their immediate gratification and to save me money on back orders. I do use PayPal as my credit card processing. I've used, I think, all of them at one point or another. PayPal has been as user-friendly, and their customer service has been top-notch. I've really had no complaints with them. Any small issues I've had, they have taken care of very quickly. So I do use those both for credit card processing there at the party, for invoicing from home, that type of thing. I do offer a payment plan. I know that everybody's got varying viewpoints on that. I've offered it now, it'd be just over 2.5 years. I started offering it not long after I went full-time. I do think that that's why I saw a 30% increase each year since I started that. With the payment plan, essentially I let them know if their wish list is longer than their checkbook balance, or maybe they don't get paid to the 1st or the 15th or whatever it is. It gives me options to still work with these clients, because we know that those that don't get paid till next week, they say, oh, well, I'll call. How many of them actually call? They don't call me. I'm hoping they're calling you, but they're not calling me. Not to mention the fact that, if you have a hostess and she books a party not thinking about it, I always try to ask my party hostesses, when is your payday? When is payday for most of your girls? Because if payday isn't till next week, it's not going to work out well for either one of us. So I do try to make sure I'm using that when I'm booking parties. But there are definitely risks with the payment plan, and in that you may not recoup those funds. You may have to be the bad guy and do a little bit of chasing to get those funds. What I can tell you is that in nearly 3 years of offering the payment plan, I have less than 1% of bad debt. I have officially $520 over 3 years of bad debt, which I think is pretty amazing. It's less than 1%. And as a former retail manager, I can tell you that any company out there would turn cartwheels for that. And what I've found is that for the most part, people are good people. If they write a check and then realize that they're too far drawn, or their husband used the card and they didn't realize it, usually I find that they're willing to work with me, and I can get that money recouped very quickly. Where it sucks is when you were counting on that money for your house payment, and then all of a sudden it's a real issue. But you want to consider that, but don't feel like you have to do that. Some people I know do it more as a layaway, to where they'll send you your products once you've paid for them. Some ladies, insist that you put, say, 50% or 55% or whatever down, so at least you're not out any money. I do go ahead and deliver the products that night to the girls, again, just to save me money in shipping. It's completely something that you need to consider. You need to balance out with your partner to make sure that the risk is gonna justify. But I can definitely vouch for it. For me personally, that it made a huge, huge, huge difference for me. For my hostesses, my hostess benefits have gone up exponentially, because the retail is up now. So that's really helped a lot. In my cash bag that I keep in the ordering room, I do keep my calendar. And you do want to, if not have an open day calendar, you want to have it pretty clear as to which days you can party. If you are an open book, if you've got nothing scheduled, nothing going on, and you just got this blank calendar, you need to fake some appointments in there, and make it look like you are more in demand. Make it look like there is some urgency to them booking that party. I put everything in mine, and it looks rather chaotic at any given time. But because of that, I find that my ladies are, number one, they're grabbing quick dates. They're grabbing them when they can, so they're not balking at a weekday party or a Sunday party, because they can see very quickly that is what I've got left. But you want to make sure you've got your open dates or your calendar handy and ready. You want to make sure you've got recruit information. If I've got little hostess or little recruit goodie bags, and if I've got a girl that just really impressed me during the party, I will go ahead and drop that in her bag. If they have interest on their customer connection form, and interest in the group is anything that is not a 1. You're going to find if they don't want to do it, they're going to let you know they don't want to do it. They're going to circle it. They're going to circle that 0, and they're going to circle it about 12 times to make you see that they don't want it. It's going to be very, very, very obvious. Anything that's like a 2 or above means, yeah, they'll consider it. So you definitely want to make sure that you're talking to everybody in there about the opportunity. If there's somebody that marked them 1 or didn't mark it, or prefers not to answer, but I really think that they may be really great at the opportunity, that's when I put the little recruiting brochure. I put, I got them from Katie Wheeler. It's got like some extra gum. I think you'd be extra great at what I do. There was one that was like some seed packets, like 10-cent seed packets. I'd love to watch you bloom and grow with Pure Romance, things like that. So I have one of those that I just drop into their bag to kind of plant the seed, so to speak, with them after the fact, even if they didn't initially realize that they were interested. What else? Credit card prices. Training. This has nothing to do with the ordering room, but if you're not going to training, I'm doing the mama finger wag. Do not miss it. I don't care whether it's a corporate training, whether it's a team meeting, whether it's a conference or a phone call. I know they can be expensive. I know that can be scary. But I've never had a training that I have invested my time and money in that did not pay that back tenfold. Sometimes it paid it back in an amazing idea that I didn't have before. Sometimes it paid it back in just a renewed enthusiasm to get my rear end off the couch and out of the slump. And it's scary to invest that time and money, especially if it's a longer drive. But if you're within 4 hours of something, you really need to try to get there. I very, very much believe in that. Meet these other girls, so you've got some really great accountability. You've got people to talk to, people that you can bounce ideas off and connect with. I've met so many amazing ladies that I would have never met had it not been for these trainings. So I really think that that's the key to how to keep going. I don't really have anything else specific to cover other than just several people messaged me and said they had questions, so I figured I'd just kind of leave it open for questions from here, Steph.
All right. So if you have a question to ask, it should be set up so that you can unmute yourself. So yeah, unmute yourself. Who has questions? You did a fantastic job, Laura. That was a lot of really good information. I almost dropped my dog taking notes. He will not be coming to your calls anymore. All right.
I take that personal.
Right? Oh, I have a concussion now. It's so sad. All right. Who's got questions about anything businessy? Oh, just kidding. You can't unmute. So thanks, Dolly. Hold on. All right. Allowed to unmute. Okay. You should be able to unmute now. Can somebody check it?
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, so we have a lot of girls. We are actually full to capacity. I have girls that are blowing my computer up, talking about they can't get in. Sorry about their luck. They should have been earlier. So when you ask your question, I don't know if everybody can see your name and stuff. I can, but I don't know if everybody can. So just tell everybody who you are and then ask your question if you don't mind.
I have one. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. It's Dolly.
Hey.
Do you have a VIP program that you put them into both at the party and or do you have a VIP Facebook group?
No. I pretended I was going to do that really early on, and it got very complicated for me. It got very complicated, especially as my party business grew. I did 103 parties last year. I think I did 80 something the year before that. And it's a lot. It's a lot of faces, a lot of names, a lot of things to keep up with. And I have a Pure Romance by Laura Hagen page on Facebook that's open to anybody who wants to be on there. I do try to direct people to add that. And I have, like with my VIP Elite program, that is just at the party that night. They get the benefit of the free stuff, but then there's nothing ongoing from that. I know there's some girls that even do things with like their hostesses, where, if you book a party, you get, whatever off of Lingerie for Life or whatever. I can't keep up with it. I'd like to pretend that I was going to, but I can't keep up with it. And I don't want somebody to feel like I've cheated them, or that they weren't important enough to me to remember them. And it's not that I don't love them. It's not that I don't want to remember them. It's just that my brain just doesn't work that way. My Pure Romance by Laura Hagen page, I do try to keep things posting on that regularly. Every morning, 6 a.m., it starts out with some sort of motivational, happy, positive quote or picture or image. Every night at 9 o'clock, I have eye candy, which is usually some topless man with soul. And something, though, that would be PG-13 in terms of a rating. I do have a monthly breast check reminder, so people can remember to do their breast checks. A couple of little random things like that. I do post sales, kit sales, or anything specials. If I need to, really things constantly going. When I run into an article that's great, I have to post it. But I do try to make sure that I've at least got 2 scheduled posts every single day for that page. But no, I don't have an ongoing VIP or Elite or special program for my clients outside of just the party night.
Who else?
I have a question. Hi, it's Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
With your handwritten notes, what are your catchphrases? Like, I always have trouble figuring out what my couple of catchphrases are going to be. So,
I'm a dork. I don't really know that I have catchphrases for anything, but I just kind of, hey Amanda, thanks for coming to the party. I hope you had a great time. Let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy your goodies.
okay.
If I know they had like an event or something, they were doing something for they have a wedding coming up, I'll tell them how I'm sure they're going to be a beautiful bride and I can't wait to see their pictures on Facebook. If they were telling me about something specific that was very close to their heart in the ordering room. I do try to make quick notes on their paper, just to remind me of that. And I may, mention that, something about that to them, but, just thanking them for confiding me if for nothing else. But for the most part, they're about 3 sentences long. I hope you had a good time. Let me know if you have questions. Enjoy. But it's handwritten, and I think that gives it a really personal touch. I don't get handwritten notes from anybody, so I think that adds a little touch to it. It's not something that was already pre-done that I just signed or stamped my name to. They're probably barely legible, but they are handwritten.
Yeah, I started doing that this year, and I found I was writing the same thing on everybody's. And like you said, if they're the friends, they're going to talk, and I didn't want them to have.
Sometimes I just change up the order. Hey,
Okay.
Thanks. I hope you really enjoy your goodies. Let me know if you have any questions. I really hope you had a great time. The same information basically, but again, I just try to personalize it just a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Can y'all hear me?
Hi, Jeannie. She's my
Hey,
roommate.
Laura. Hey, everybody. Jeannie Carver here.
You had a good month.
I did. You had a good month. Fist bump. How do you speed up the ordering room process if you have a large party? If you take a helper, what can your helper do in or out of the ordering room to help you speed up the ordering room process? Because that's what I'm struggling with.
Yes. My ordering room process doesn't change very much, and if there's a place I'm going to run over, it is typically in there. I do try, if I've got like repeat guests, like I've got a party this coming Saturday, and I know that I've seen several of those ladies recently. I do try to make sure that I'm a little more personal, a little more chatty with them, just so they feel important and that I really appreciate them coming back. That said, sometimes it'll really slow things down, so I'll let them know, hey, look, I saw on Facebook that you have had such and such going on with your daughter in her prom dress. When you get home, be sure to Facebook me the pictures. I can't wait to chat about it. And I try to divert some of those conversations to later or after the fact. As far as having an assistant there, every now and again I'll get a gal to shadow me. Again, I do parties kind of away, so it's not always convenient for girls where I'm at.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're very new, so they're very busy and that kind of thing. And I love you guys, but y'all kind of muck up my system. So it's kind of better sometimes that they're kind of set to the side and kind of just doing their thing, taking it in, soaking it in.
Right, and be a guest.
Kelly Henderson, I don't know if she's on here or not, but she's kind of my right-hand girl. She comes to a lot of parties with me as a helper, and we have that down to an art form. She's gathering goodies as I'm speaking with them, and she's adding and taking them away. I hand her, at the end of the order, I hand her the order form. She goes ahead and circles whatever it is that I need and whatnot. And in the meantime, I'm able to kind of finish up just conversational stuff with the client. So Kelly does a lot of that. There's been a time or two where we had such a big group, or we were on a real tight timeline that we actually just kind of ran her a second, she kind of started having secondary conversations. And in that case, she kind of goes and gets the preliminary order, adds as much as she can to the order form, but then she still sends them to me to finalize money stuff, make sure there's nothing else I need to add on or suggest, that type of thing. But again, that largely works because we've worked together now for so long together in that capacity. I do, I find if I'm going to run over, typically that's where I'm going to do it. I try to keep my demo to an hour. If it's a really rowdy crowd, it might run an hour and 15 at the most. If I can really fly through it, sometimes 45 minutes. Frankly, if they're getting on my nerves, I may just skip a thing or two, and that'll get me out of there even faster. But I'm not going to cut the corners in the ordering room because that's where the magic happens. That's where I'm making my money and my house payment and my little boy's Lego. That is where I'm forming the connections for the next referral, the next party booking, the next team member. That's not going to be where I cut corners.
Right. And since I'm still on here, I don't know if Dolly is still on here or not, but you remember what Dolly told us at the Cuddy Hunk about the thank you note? Oh my gosh, I did it last night for the first time.
Did it work?
Oh, this hostess is going to love it when she gets it.
Good for you.
I put some in my book. I put some in my big bag, and I do have about 4 of them completed. I keep forgetting them until I'm like on the very last person. I'm like, darn it. But,
Yeah.
but I've gotten 4 of them done, getting ready to send all those out this week for the ones that I've collected so far. But yeah, I'm working on, I need to just somehow or another staple that to my head so I remember it is the big issue.
I've carried them around
What
with
are you
me
guys
for-
talking about?
Yeah, so tell her.
Sure. Dolly had this really great thing that she's been doing. She's been having in the ordering room all the guests fill out a thank you card for the hostess. They can write down, something maybe that
One card.
she's done to impress them or empower them. Yeah, 1 card for everybody there. And you take it home, you hold on to it for a couple of weeks, and then you send it out. It's a secret for her. She doesn't know that it's coming. And it's just a really great, number one, it's a great change just from the ordinary, junk mail and bills that you get in the mail. So you're actually getting some fun mail. You're getting mail that's really going to, again, empower and elevate your mood and give you something, kind of a keepsake to hold on to. She's had amazing success with it, and so far the girls have definitely responded to it. I'm just not so good at remembering it yet. We're working on it.
I call it an empowerment card. And at the beginning, Laura, I was having a hard time remembering it too. And so I put it on top of or in my credit card slider.
Yes.
Because by the time I go to take that first credit card or the first cash payment or something like that, it's right there in front of you and then you don't forget. And
I worshipped you before, but now.
I put one of the consultant checks in there too, which is another reason I don't give it to them that night. I want them to get it a few weeks later so they're not expecting it. And I call it an empowerment card, not a thank you card. And I tell them that when they're signing it so that they understand not to just write thanks for the party unless they don't know the hostess. If they came with a friend, then I have them write nice drapes or something like that. And then they obviously laugh. But I make sure that I fill out that consultant check thing, especially because our hostess is our number 1 recruit at any party. So by sending them the thank you card, that's the empowerment card, and letting them know exactly how much I made at that party, they truly enjoy it. And it's been forcing me to finish my paperwork on time because I have to figure out what my profit was. So, January can go far. Last year, not so much.
But even if you're not 100%, 80% is better than 0. Who else?
Hi, I have a question.
Who's hiring me?
I'm sorry, I'm Danielle.
Oh, hey, Danielle, I see you. Okay.
So my question is about the payment plan.
Yes.
Do you tell your hostess that you're offering a payment plan? Do you say it at the party in your beginning speech? How do you get it across to the ladies that you have this plan?
I don't mention it at the beginning. I mention it at the very end. All right, ladies, when you come into the ordering room, you're going to bring all the items on your lap board for me. Just bring the whole thing back. A few things to remember. We take cash, we take check, we take credit card, we take the honey plan, which is a mixture of all 3, so he doesn't know what you spent. And ladies, we have a payment plan. Yes, you can finance your sex toys. All right, we're not actually financing anything. It's just way too much math. However, if your wish list is longer than your checkbook balance, we're going to take your entire total. We're going to break it into 2 or 3 payments based on your pay schedule. Come talk to me about it in the ordering room. And that's basically how I introduce it. I would say that I offer it at probably 95% of my parties. There has definitely been a time or two that it's not come out of my mouth. You just kind of get a feel for the surroundings, for yourself, or sometimes you just have to trust your gut. That said, I will also tell you that the 2 ladies that flaked on me last year, they both would have probably been the last person at the party that I would have thought I would have had a problem with. So you never know. You don't know what their priority is. You don't know what their payments are like, what their lifestyle is like. You have no idea. It's not my place to judge. But if I do get just that gut instinct that, not a good idea, I don't mention it. But if they've been to a previous party, they're going to know about it anyway for the most part. I do handle it on a case-by-case basis. Some of that is based on what they're ordering. If it's a huge order, I want to definitely make it achievable for them. At the same time, I have to be mindful of what I have at risk there as well. So I kind of, for some ladies, I may, kind of require the full, 50% down. For others, I may just split it into even 3s. if it's a lady I've done payment plans with before, you know, I'll you know, with no problems, I'll definitely be willing to work with her however I need to work with her. But I do it in 2 or 3 payments. It needs to be paid out over usually a 6-week time period, which is 3 paydays for ladies. And I will either take post-dated checks or bank cards.
Thank you.
All right, click on unmute if anybody else has questions. Everybody good?
Let me think.
Woo.
Okay, I
Wait.
found this on the web.
Apparently I'm messing with Siri. All right, so I guess we're good. So girls, do me a favor and hop on the groups. I'm going to start a post on the groups and for your takeaways. So just post 2 takeaways if you don't mind. I am going to